Winter brings its own color scheme when nature dresses in browns and grays. Here the elevation of Pettus Hill can make the season especially harsh. A sunny day makes the trees seem lifeless, though they, like the rest of nature here, are well adapted to waiting. Beech trees wait with their dried leaves on, an echo of last summer. Squirrels depend on their scatter hoarding for getting through tough, fruitless seasons. They leave their middens where they eat. But many green forms of life persist even now. Here a log hosts mosses and lichen that are unshaded by leaves until spring. Dryness is the winter problem, and many plants like these club mosses have adapted to conserve moisture while switching to a freeze-resistant chemistry. Ferns also defend against the cold and dry with similar mechanisms, and also keep a low profile by matting to the protective ground. Like the other plants, being evergreen can be a good strategy, so long as the cold season gains offset the cost of winterizing. Lichens are a symbiosis between fungi and algae or bacteria that can also be winter active. Here a lichen forms a thin living crust on a rock, and here a more leaf-like foliose lichen forms on a tree. Lichens are signs of clean air. But here at Pettus Hill there's a lichen of a different sort altogether. We have to get to the north-facing boulders to see it. At first sight it might look like brown or gray fall leaves stuck to the rocks and easily overlooked. But these lichen leaves, or thalli, are massive for lichens, up to about a foot across at Pettus Hill. This is a giant lichen called smooth rock tripe, and its ancient time-tattered leaves are brown, gray, or green on the top depending on moisture, and black underneath. Its generic name, umbilicaria, comes from the single point of attachment reminiscent of a belly button or navel, this example leaf being over 8 inches across. Here are some of the huge leaves, growing with evergreen mosses and ferns like kelp at sea along the north-facing rocks at the top of Pettus Hill. Winter's story is harsh and only sparsely green, with just one or a few characters per scene, but it's cleverly written for those curious, and some of the more interesting parts are written on the rocks here at Pettus Hill.